All right, so welcome to the podcast, Tommy.
Thank you.
And so for the listeners, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Tommy Maloteaux. I'm a Belgian game developer making Deisim, virtual reality god simulator.
Yeah. So the thing is that I sort of stumbled upon Deisim after I installed the side quest on my Oculus Quest, and I suddenly realized that there was a whole big world of of software I could play with that I had no idea about before. So
there is a lot of games and experience to try on SideQuest.
Yeah,
I put Deisim on it very early when it started to become a thing, and I quickly got 60,000 downloads on the platform, like really quickly.
Yeah.
When I put it on SideQuest first, it was free. Mm-hmm. The game was free because it was very experimental at that point.
Yeah.
No, it's paid because it's in my opinion good enough to be considered a playable game.
Yeah, definitely.
But it had a lot of success when it was free on the platform, and there's a lot of people coming to SideQuest each day. It's even more true now that the Quest 2 is here because the market exploded.
Yeah. So I guess is it fair to say that SideQuest is sort of a third-party app store for VR?
Yeah, it's mostly focusing around early access game. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of app on SideQuest are not yet approved for the Quest official store, or even denied for the Quest official store multiple times. For example, I was denied. Deisim was denied 2 times.
Really?
Oculus is very restrictive about what it accepts on this official store. It's good because you have some good quality title, at least from their point of view, because not everybody agree on that definition, but it's also a bad thing because you don't have a lot of content, and a lot of people are starving from content and looking for ways to enjoy their headset with more games.
Yeah. Like I said, I had no idea how much was out there before I actually installed SideQuest, so it was a strange thing. So when did you start on Deisim, and how did you sort of come to the idea?
In fact, I got my HTC Vive in 2016, and it was just released at that point. I was a really early adopter of VR, and when I tried it, I quickly realized that the number of game was very limited, and also the kind of game, mostly shooters, wave shooters at that point.
Yeah,
and I'm the kind of guy who like strategy games and building games, stuff like that. So I was a bit disappointed. I like shooters too, but I think it's
just one thing.
It's just very limiting, and I wanted something different. So I decided to make something for myself. And I made Deisim it's just me playing with small soldier like when I was a child. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
When I tried it with my headset, I was blown away because it was very, very immersive.
Yeah.
I was very inspired by this, and I wanted to have some feedback to see if it was just me or if someone else was interested by the concept. That the number of games was so limited at that point. I decided to put it on Steam very early. The state of the game was very, very bad at that point, but it's 2016, and I knew nobody with a VR headset to try the game. So the only place I knew where I could find people is on Steam.
Yeah.
So I released it in early access.
In 2016.
Yeah, December 2016, in a very rough state, and I improved it since that day. Yeah, I was surprised by the reception of the game. A lot of people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Despite the very early state, and it's still a good thing until now.
So compared to the game today, what was in that very first version? How much could you do?
The core concept was here. You were able to build a world, and the small humans were expanded in it. But the humans were limited to medieval era mostly, and only one civilization. No, there is more. There is 5 civilizations in the game now. The number of miracles were also limited. The humans were really different, more primitive than now. Now there is more than 100 different humans in the game.
Whoa!
Only 4 at that point. So, and not even the same quality.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff has been added during that 3 years of development. But it's not really 3 years, because I have a day job and I work on Deisim mostly on my free time. So if I had a full time working on Deisim, maybe I would be able to achieve the same thing in 1 year or 6 months. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's easy to imagine that anyway. But it might have taken just as long. Sometimes you need those breaks to sort of process.
Yeah, of course. But I'm sure that the progress would have been quicker than it is because
maybe
sometimes I'm really struggling to find time to work on the game.
yeah. I bet there's a ton of stuff you would like to add if you had unlimited time.
Yeah, actually, I have a Trello board with a bunch of stuff that I want in the game and where people can vote for it.
Oh, nice.
And I have, we have work for the 10 next year, I think. But I have time, yeah. No. When I started the project, I thought to myself, okay, I'm here to play the long game. It's the start of virtual reality. The market for that kind of game will probably not be there before 10 years, or I don't know, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So I don't want to burn out myself.
That's a good idea. Speaking of that, being blown away by the feel of something, one of my first, I think I said this in an email, but when I first started playing, since I was standing in the middle of my room and then the world appears at ground level. So I realized that I found it natural to just sit down in the middle of the world and start doing stuff, and that was really cool. Like I'm really close to this little landscape. But then there was another real wow factor when I suddenly stood up and whoa, the world spreads out around me. It's also one of those feelings you can't really get outside of VR, and just looking at a still picture or something, you would never think that the immersion level is. That the immersion is to that level because it looks really nice and scaled down and sort of almost low polygon.
It's something really difficult in VR. It's to show to people who never experience it how it is to be in VR. You can make pictures and screenshots, but it looks like nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only way to really see if something is good for you is to try it. In Deisim, for example, the sense of scale is really important, and it's what gives you the immersion, the ability to be the size of the human or really big and see them like hands.
Yeah.
And this is something you can show in a screenshot properly. Yes, you can sort of show it, but it will never have the same impact on your brain as it is when you are inside VR.
Yeah,
and it's really something complicated to convey to people. It's easier with games where you play with a gun because everybody know what they will do in VR, but yeah, it's more complicated for games that are outside of that scope.
Yeah, you build stuff.
Yeah, well, what will I do? Yeah, we'll throw stuff. It seems boring. Yeah. But the interest is not here. The interest is to see the small humans, to interact with them, to play with small toys,
Yeah, build out the world.
Like you say, be able to sit on the ground and see the world you built around you. It's something magic, if you have your soul of child, it's like that. I remember when I was young, this is the kind of stuff that I dreamed about. Be able to have all my small soldiers moving around me and be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Them. Something, really magical.
Yeah.
And the child really loved the game, actually.
Yeah.
I demonstrated the game in a conference last year because it's not possible now with COVID.
Yeah.
And the children were really in love with the game. Some came multiple times during the day to experience it multiple times. It was really fun to see.
Yeah, that's some real validation there.
Yeah, the game was not aimed at children at first.
No,
because it was more for people who loved old God games like Populous and Black and White and stuff like that.
Like me.
It's like me too. It's obviously my inspiration for that game. But I realized that the children also really loved it because in the game they are able to do what they can't in real life. They can create stuff, but they can also destroy everything, and nobody will punish them for that. So.
Yeah, and you can just keep building as well. You don't run out of blocks to build with or anything.
Yes. The quest is limited in size because of the hardware limitations. But if you play on your PC or on your Quest with the link cable, the world is unlimited.
Yeah, wow. So I don't know. I haven't looked into this, but is there some kind of end to the game, or can I just? Is it always open to play as long as I like?
For now, you can play as long as you want, and it's intended to be the case even after the 1.0 release.
Yeah.
But there is a goal. It's the final goal is to allow humanity to quit the planet and start colonize other worlds. So you helped mankind to evolve from the Stone Age to the spatial conquest.
Yeah.
And my idea is that when you finish the game, you see the small the small spaceship getting the planet and start colonize other worlds. And then it's the new game plus. You can continue to play if you want.
Nice. Yeah.
I have also that idea of giving, when you do that, having the ability to create other tiles, but with alien worlds. So you could make something funnier.
Yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah. With plants hating humans and stuff like that. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Something like
that. Yeah, there's always room for expansion here.
Yeah, it's a problem with that game is that you can expand it for years. It's also something cool because if at some point a lot of people are playing it, I have plenty of idea on how to expand it.
Yeah.
And how to make it even cooler. Yeah.
So do you still develop it using a Vive? Is that a good development platform to use?
No, I don't use the Vive anymore. It was a good one when I started, but not very practical to put in and out very quickly. I worked for a long time with a Rift S, but now I simply work with my Quest 2 and the link cable.
Yeah.
It's very convenient and the battery lasts for years. So it's very practical.
Yeah, I have the extra battery pack as well, and I forget to charge it sometimes. It runs down so slowly.
Well, to develop, I use the link cable, so the headset itself is always powered by the cable.
Of course.
But the controllers last very long, so it's very practical to work. So I don't need extra setup.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time. So what tools do you use on the PC side for development?
I use Unity to make Deisim. Always using Unity. I'm really happy with it. I never tried Unreal, but I think it's good to make VR stuff now. It used to be different when I started because Unreal was not able to do linear. No, it's not linear. What is it? I don't remember, but it was only able to do deferred rendering in VR, and it caused a lot of issue with aliasing and stuff. It was really visible. Back in 2016, it was very visible if you made the game with Unreal or Unity. So I started with Unity for that reason, and also because I used VRTK to start working on the game. Because I wanted to be started really quickly.
Yeah, of course.
And it was a good solution for me to be able to do that very quickly. It's my first game. I never worked with Unity before, unless to try a bit to see how it was.
It seems like a good choice.
Yeah, it was my first serious project. I have a lot of experience in development, but it was my first in games.
Okay. Cool. So it was your first game project like this. Do you think it made any difference? Was it any harder to get started in VR than it would have been if you wanted to make a game for a standard flat screen?
Yeah, especially in 2016. No, it's different because a lot of stuff are common sense now, but it was not the case in 2016. For example, the locomotion methods in VR, now it's obvious that a lot of people want different stuff and you want to please everyone, etc. But in 2016, everybody was thinking about not making the player sick, which was really the holy grail. Because if people were sick, they would put off the headset and never try it again. So so I started with teleport locomotion in Deisim, and then I think 6 months to 1 year later, I added a different locomotion method that I prefer now. It's really cooler when you grab the world and move it, and change your skill easily with the controllers. It's really cool when you are used to it. It's something that doesn't existed before. It's like something we discovered during the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
And also the performance is also a bigger concern in VR. There is a lot of stuff that you can't do. And since it was my first game, I made a lot of mistakes because I was not really aware of those limitations. For example, having something with where everything is dynamic, nothing is pre-made in Deisim because the world is empty when you start. So, for example, you have dynamic lighting, dynamic shadows. Everything is an object, so the number of draw call exploded really quickly. When at that point, I was not even aware of what was a draw call.
There's a lot to learn.
I learned a lot during the development of Deisim, but it's also what made that game possible, because if I knew the limitation before, I don't think I would have made that game.
That's a good point.
It's fun because I know all of that, and I know if I start something new, I will try to avoid all that pitfalls.
Oh yeah, and then you'll have a completely different style of game than if you.
Exactly. But it's cool because it makes they seem something really unique.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think something like this will be made again for VR.
No. It feels like one of those ideas that there's almost just one of a kind. I don't know. It's like it's this and nothing else. It's really fascinating. So have you had to rewrite a lot of stuff to solve your problems later on?
Yeah, definitely. For example, for the tiles, I had to make a custom shader to be able to use GPU instancing for every tiles in the game. So I reduced the number of locals by a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's something I was unable to do early on, but after 2 years and a better understanding of how Unity works and how 3D rendering works, I was able to do it. And yeah, now it just works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something, if you don't have the problem, you don't think about it before.
Yeah, of course. It's one of those things that it's easiest to learn when you have the actual challenge in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like you said, it's hard to get anywhere if you start thinking of those things before you actually made something.
Yes, and it's also why I wanted feedback really early, because I wanted also to see if what people wanted is to build really big worlds, or if they wanted some progression in smaller worlds. Stuff like that. Oh, the people are actually playing the game was driving the feature I wanted to make too. Because my goal is the end of the day is to have people enjoying it. It must not be only what I want, but what people want to see in it. For example, when I started, the only way for me to see how people played the game it was on Steam and some YouTuber took it, and I watched all the videos. It was not a ton of videos, but I watched all the videos, and each time someone tried something that was not possible, I added it in the game.
Nice.
For example, the moon was in the game, and one day one guy wanted to take it to cross the humans with it. It was not possible, and on the next patch it was possible. Someone trying to add water on the moon, it was not possible. On the next patch it was possible. It's just a gimmick, it doesn't change everything. But I think in VR, immersion is really the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you try something and it just works, it's magical, sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Each time I try something in VR, if I'm not able to take an object, it breaks my immersion.
Yeah.
Immersion is a big thing in VR, but when it's broken, it's just a less convenient way to play games.
Yeah.
And I try to keep that in the ability to grab everything, even if it makes no sense at all. Because for me, it's more important to be able to do something, even if it's for nothing.
Yeah.
That even no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It does nothing.
Yeah. I mean, especially in a game like this, I think. I mean, there might be some other games where it makes sense to sort of limit the player to guide them or whatever, but not in a game like this when you're actually the god hovering over the world.
Yes, in the end of the day, it's always a trade-off
of
what you want to achieve. In a very narrative game, it's really hard to give the player the ability to grab everything and stuff like that.
True.
I have the chance to be able to do that, and I think it's what makes the game unique too.
Yeah.
Because if you are lost in it, you can spend a lot of time just taking stuff, throwing stuff.
Yeah, of course. So what other fun stuff have people sort of suggested or added to the development?
I must think about it. Yeah, for example, the alien that I added in the end was something suggested by the players. Yeah, the ability to burn the humans into the volcano.
People are.
It's something people tried.
Yeah.
Also in the campfire, they wanted to. Yeah. One thing that is not in the game, but that people try every time is to take a tree and throw at people, and then try to do baseball with the human and the tree.
Oh no!
It's not yet possible, but it will be at some point.
yeah, I guess I can see how they how they think of it.
It's something really fun to see.
Yeah. So where are people best at leaving feedback? What channels do you use for that?
I used to use a lot Steam community for that, but now it's mostly on Discord because it's a convenient way to discuss with people.
Yeah.
I have a Discord for the game that is there is a lot of people on it, not a lot of activity, but a lot of lurkers. And I'm on it every day to discuss with people about ideas. And I'm alone on the project, so I consider the early adopters of the game as members of the team.
Yeah.
When I have to challenge ideas, I do it with them on the Discord chat server.
Yeah.
To get some feedback and to challenge my ideas.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have my own bias, and when I discuss with them, I realize, okay, it's absolutely not all the people play the game. It's just my idea of how I will play it.
Yeah,
because in the end of the day, I realized that I spent a lot of time working on it, but less time playing it. So I'm probably the least informed people about how to play my own game.
That's an interesting point. I don't know how many people realize that, but it's so true. And for so many kinds of software development as well. I mean, I'm certainly not the best user of the system I create at work.
I work in application development, and so I transpose those ideas into the gaming world.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to make application I will never use.
Yeah.
It's my day job, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm used to asking people, what do you want? How do you work? What's your workflow? And it's the same here. I say, okay, when you play the game, what are you trying to achieve? Do you want to put everything in the maximum? Do you want to help humans to evolve? Do you want to build a big world?
Yeah.
Do you just want to destroy everything? And then from that point, I try to, how can I make them happy?
Yeah.
And I realize there is different players playing my game differently, and I try to have something for each kind of players.
Yeah. Is there something that people wish for often that you're not going to put in, or?
The biggest thing people want is an ability to have kingdoms and war between kingdoms in the game. It's not something that I don't want to make. Actually, I really would love to make it, but it's something that will take so much time. It's like on my plan. If after the release, the game is a success enough to sustain myself, this is what I will spend the 6 months after the release to making, because it's something that will make a huge difference. I really like games like Crusader games.
Oh yeah.
I would want to have something really not that big, of course, but something similar in the sense that you will be able to have a king on a kingdom, and if you kill the kingdom is splitting in multiple smaller kingdoms, making war between each other. And so the player will have a really small actions with a lot of impact. And I think it's something that will be really cool to see. I think I will be able to make it. It's not a question of skills, but mostly of time.
Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff to do as well.
Yeah. So for now, I'm focusing on the the main aspect of the game, where you help the humans to reach spatial conquest.
Yeah.
Because it's a first dimension, but I see other dimensions to the game that will also be expanded.
Yeah. I mean, I always think from back to Populous. So my thinking is always about, I want to just grab the land and pull it up and make hills and valleys and stuff. But I think that's a completely different game at some level.
Yeah. I also tried to make something that's not just a Populous ripoff.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
I tried to make my own thing because there is other VR God games. I think probably with bigger teams than me and better skills too. So I try to keep something unique, and it's also what people like on my games.
Yeah,
you don't micromanage everything.
Yeah, it's a relief.
Yeah, because in most God games you have to deal with every small details.
Yeah,
and my stand from the start was, okay, I'm God, and what is the God doing most of the time? Nothing. What do you want? It's certainly not helping me achieving my goals.
Not micromanagement.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of the stuff that people really love about my game.
Yeah,
because
it's relaxing to play, and I can take my time and do focus on the thing I want to focus on at the moment.
Yeah, there is no reason to be stressed when you are God.
Yeah, exactly.
You have plenty. You have the entire time to decide what you want to do. If you want people to stay stuck at the Stone Age for years, it's your your idea. You do what you want.
There's no rush.
Exactly.
I think that helps with that, sense of magic as well, that I can sit down over here and sort of just focus on these 4 squares of the world and put in animals and watch people do stuff. And then I can stand up and go over to the other corner instead and see what's going on over there. But I don't have to always think about the 6 other places where stuff is happening. It's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Humans will do their best to survive anyway, and to expand. So if there is a way for them to evolve, they will find it. It will take time, of course, but they will find it.
Yeah,
it's an ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. I think that took a while for me to understand in the beginning. It's like, they're trying to chop down trees. Should I be doing stuff here with the trees, or should I just? Oh, okay, they do it by themselves. I see. Okay. I go over here.
A big issue of the game is the start, because it's something different that most people are used to. So it needs a really good tutorial, and I don't make it yet.
Yeah, but
it's something I'm thinking about a lot, because I know it's one of the big weaknesses of the game, but it's also something that I need to really make right.
Yeah. It's no good to put in a good. If you put one in, it has to be really good, because a halfway tutorial may not help anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do think the game works really well to. I mean, it's relatively easy for such a complex game to sort of start figuring out. I mean, I felt a bit lost at first, but I still managed to do stuff and sort of move on and start to get a feel for it. So it doesn't feel as much in need of a tutorial as some other games with the same kind of complexity would, because it's more relaxing, and it feels like it is more about the discovery as well.
Yes, there's also a part of the game that's about discovery. But I realize now that a lot of people are not as good as I am to observe things and find hints that I put it. So
that's a good point.
I need better hints.
Yeah.
For some stuff. The start of the game, it's mostly okay, but when you reach more complicated stuff like the animals and the mines, it's a bit more complicated for them to figure out that the output is different.
Yeah.
And
so,
but it's also what brings a bit of novelty to the gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
to
really,
make it interesting. So
yeah, it goes in its own direction. So do you get a lot of questions about how the game works, or do people mostly seem to figure it out by themselves?
for the start of the game, now it's mostly okay,
Mm-hmm.
because the small steps that I added to inform the player seems to work fine. But yeah, when you start with the animals and stuff like that, it starts to have more questions.
Yeah.
Also the fur, the animals mostly, because they are not realizing that one miracle is making a different output depending on what biomes you use to perform it.
Ah. I didn't realize that either.
Yeah. I still trying to figure out a good way to convey that message to the player. Yeah. But if I'm not able to do it, I will change that and split it into multiple miracles. But yeah, it's also a defeat. But I think it's also what makes the game interesting.
Yeah.
It's okay, I want that kind of stuff. Oh, will I achieve it?
Yeah.
Okay, I want fur. It's not the desert animals who have fur, obviously. Yeah. So it's in the snow, and if you put an animal in the snow, it will make a polar bear or a wolf, and both produce fur. Yeah. So you are able to, and then the humans will hunt for it by themselves. You don't have to do all that stuff.
No, exactly.
You just the only goal is to figure out, will I fulfill their needs?
Yeah, exactly. It sort of guides itself kind of nicely that way, and there's never a timer counting down either, so I can just relax and think a little bit about it too.
Yeah, you have plenty of time to figure
really
out.
Like it.
Exactly.
So is it the Discord server that people should go to if they want to ask others for help?
Yes, it's the best place to go. The community is very welcoming.
Yeah.
And I'm only on it during European hours, but there is a lot of American players playing the game and really eager to help.
Yeah.
So it's really the best place to go.
Yeah, that's good. We'll put a link in the show notes, of course, as well as to anything else we talk about. So do you know which platform people use most to play the game?
It used to be on Steam, but now I see more and more people playing from SideQuest on their Quest 2. It's really exploding on that part. Yeah, it's logical. When I started, it used to cost 1,000 euros to play, and now it's 300. I think.
Yeah, it's incredible change.
It changed the game a lot.
Yeah. So I guess most people are Quest players, at least right now.
Yes, the ecosystem changed a lot. There are still a lot of people on Steam, but I think even Steam, it's a lot of Quest players playing with their link cable.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm really tempted to try that as well, but I don't really have a gaming PC, so I want to. I always think, I want to try Half-Life Alyx, and okay, I need a cable and I need a PC as well.
But for Deisim, you don't need a really beefy PC to play it, because the graphics are quite simple.
Yeah, it has its own style.
The game is mostly CPU limited, so of the AI and all the torque cores.
Yeah, it feels like it works really well on the Quest 2 standalone as well.
Yes, it works well on the Quest. I had to get rid of the shadows, but I don't think it makes a huge difference, because when you are in VR, you have the depth. Yeah. So it makes a lot of difference into a screenshot, but in game it's less important.
Yeah, that's also one of those things you don't really understand until you're in VR yourself. So,
exactly.
There's so much depth
here. When you put it on a screenshot, it becomes 2D, and so you lose depth, and the shadows is here to remember it. Yeah. But when you are in actual 3D, you have the depth information, and even without the shadows, you realize. whereas the people.
Yeah.
And
So the game is not yet at the release version, right?
Right, it's still in early access.
Yeah. Do you have a roadmap for what would constitute the first release version?
Yes, and the Trello board that I have with all the ideas, I selected. I will also give you the link if you want to share it with your community. That it's not carved in stone, of course, but it's what I use to try to have at least a plan to follow. And also at each point, if people are really pushing for something and I feel that I'm able to do it, I change the priority to adjust, because I think it's important that the people have what they want.
Yeah, it's part of the spirit.
Yes, it's what I wanted to do with early access. So I think there is no point doing early access if you don't do that. It's just selling your game when it's not finished.
that is a good point.
Yeah, it's good. For example, for me, it helped a lot because it allowed me to pay for an artist to make a lot of 3D models for the game. It's something that would not be possible without early access. But the main goal was to have feedback and to work on it.
Yeah, it seems to have worked really well as a strategy. So what is currently left before the release version?
I just released Modern Age and I remake all the menus of the game. So now I must work on the futuristic age. It's something that I want really cool. I already have all the humans, but I still need to make all the 3D models for the buildings. I also want to make interesting mechanics with that.
Yeah.
So I hope to have something in January, but I'm not sure I will make it with this. No. With COVID, it's difficult because my plans are ruined every time. The school is closed, and so I have to take my children at home, for example. It's working in VR with the children is almost possible.
It's difficult.
Each time I put it on my head, my son is here. Hey, can I play with the small humans?
Yeah, the good thing is, you made an interesting game because the kids want to play it all the time. Yeah, it's like that video someone posted where they were demoing hand tracking on the Quest, and suddenly their hands started moving really strangely, and then you can see outside of VR that the dog was pulling on their hand. Same kind of problem.
It's something a bit complicated. I don't put too much pressure on me with the dates.
No, that's good.
But I try to deliver content when it's ready, and I think most people understand that the game is the progress is slow but steady.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so much fun to be had in the game already. So I have
a lot of people already enjoy it like it is, and it's mostly having more stuff to play with. People also like because they know that in 2 months or something there would be more stuff to play with, and their game will be improved. I plan to continue a bit like this after the release. The release is more there to say, okay, it can be considered a game finished, sort of. But it's like Dwarf Fortress, it's never really finished. There is always room to improvement.
Of course.
Small stuff to add that can change everything. Because, for example, if I had the Kingdoms update, it will change so much stuff in the game that it will almost be a different game.
Yeah.
I try to make stuff in systems like this to have emergent behavior. because I think it's what makes stuff interesting, especially in a universe where you are immersed like this.
Yeah, it really works nicely. It feels like there's stuff going on, and I can just sit and look around, and then I can add my own inputs here and there.
Yeah. I think it's also something that will still make the game relevant in maybe 5 years, because it's something that it's not the state of the art. The graphics are not mind blowing.
No, but it doesn't.
But it's not that important. Yeah.
No, exactly.
It doesn't matter. They are not ugly too. I think they are fine now. It used to be very simple, but now it's nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a style. You look at it and feel like, yes, it's intended to look like this. There's a sort of
I try to stay consistent, to at least have something that feel clean.
Definitely.
And also it's also allowing me to make the huge worlds, because if you try to make something realistic, you will never be able to make a game like Deisim. It's impossible. It's too it will be too demanding for the GPU.
It doesn't work. No, I think the style really works for the game.
Yes, maybe a bit too childish, because some people are looking at it and say, "Oh, okay, it's for the children."
I think maybe in a couple of years you could make a really expensive expansion, which is just, it looks more like it's for grown-ups or something.
With blood and go.
Exactly. And everything's more like gray and dirty and muddy and
exactly. But and a lot of different players are playing the games. It's children, but also old people are enjoying it. It's because you don't have to move really fast.
No.
You don't have to have good reflexes. So
I mean, in that way, it's probably a really good game for people who are not that used to VR as well, I would think, because you can start by just sitting or standing where you are, and then you can sort of gradually learn to move around in different ways if you don't like the first one you try.
Yes, I think it could be fine for first timers.
Yeah.
Maybe not because of the say that the problem is you have no ground below your feet when you start, or mostly. So some people may have some vertigo.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting point.
But I have something planned to mitigate vertigo. So maybe having some kind of cloud below you or something like that to feel like you have something below your feet.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea at some point, I guess.
For some people, at least.
I don't recall even thinking about it, so I guess I'm not one of them.
Yeah, for most people, it's not an issue at all, but for some people, it's a deal breaker. So I will at least have an option for that before 1.0.
Yeah. And so when you reach 1.0, is that a point where you'll try to get it in the Oculus store again?
Yeah, exactly. I pitched them 2 times and was refused both times. I think I'm a bit on the limit. It's mostly okay, but not. The fact that it's an early access game definitely don't help.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't accept early access games on the store, and I can understand that. My goal was not to have it now in the store, but at least to know that I will be able to put it on it at some point.
Yeah, so because having it in place.
Yes, because I am also taking a risk, and if most people are playing on Quest and I'm not able to sell it to Quest players, I can do anything. I can try on a parallel store like SideQuest, but it will always be limited to a subset.
Yeah, of course.
And
Are they good at providing clear feedback, or are they? Sort of
unfortunately, not. It's mostly just a mail saying no.
Sort of the Apple.
I'm sorry that it's no. So yeah, you have to find other ways to get some feedback. There is ways I'm on the Oculus Start program. It's a program from Oculus to help young developers to get started and have feedback about their works and what they should do.
Yeah.
And there is an active community on Oculus Start. They have a Discord server too, and but limited to members. Yeah. And we share our Quest pitch on it to get some feedback about what's good in it, what's not. So I know my pitch good now. It's mostly about. I think they don't believe I will finish the game. No, really.
Yeah. I guess I can see the idea. I guess
the scope is big, and I have no previous title released. So for them, it's like okay. I don't think it's a good idea. Because I know if they accept you, it's not just that you are able to go to the store, but they are also putting resources for you. People will help you, extensive QA and stuff like that. So it costs them money to accept you. It's not just giving access.
Yeah, that's a good point. And of course, they want to provide quality, like you said, and make sure that you
exactly. So I understand why, and I really hope that after 1.0, I will be able to have it on the Quest Store.
Yeah.
I think the people playing it enjoy it. So I know it's not a game for everyone. It will never be. But I don't think it's a deal breaker for the Oculus Store.
No, and I feel like it could be a game for so many people who don't play that many other games.
Yes, exactly. I think I'm feeling a different niche. And some people may not be interested by the shooters they find on the Quest Store, for example, but could be interested in Deisim.
Yeah.
Some people prefer to create stuff and to have relaxing experiences.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of experience that Deisim provides. So I'm sure there is an audience for it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's in VR yet, but I know it will be at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a question of time.
Yeah. VR has come quite far in the past few years. It's so exciting. Yes, a sort of side question, I guess. But since you're active as a game developer for VR, are there any other indie developers doing fun stuff for VR that you think we should look at?
For example, there is Cubism. You should try it if you haven't yet. It's something really cool. It's made by another Belgian developer. Also a solo indie guy doing it after his day job. He was able to have it on the Quest Store. So and it's a very polished and high quality game.
Oh yeah, I should try it.
It's something. Unlike me, he scoped his game really well. So I decided I will do everything in my game, and he said, "Okay, we'll do something really minimalistic, but it's really polished." And I love that game.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard really good things about it from other people too.
I can't really suggest other games similar to Deisim because most are abandoned projects. Each time someone tries to put a good game on the market, he quickly abandon it in general because the sales are too low. Most of the time it's not solo people, it's teams of mostly 5 people, if I understand well. And the sales are just too small to sustain such teams. So I understand why, but
that's true. It's a whole different thing.
I I'm a bit disappointed about that because it's the kind of game I wanted to play, and each time there is one I purchase it, and then I'm disappointed because it's not maintained anymore. It will never be finished. Playing your own game is always different. You know everything. There is no discovery. You see bugs everywhere.
Yeah, of course. I should be working on the game instead. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I guess we're sort of running out of time. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you would like to add?
I don't have prepared something to say at the end. It was really cool.
I think we got all the important stuff in. We'll put in links to the Discord and everything else I can think of. And
I will send you the links.
Yeah, and I really recommend anyone with a Quest or other compatible headset to try Deisim. It's a really nice experience. And it's really inspiring as well to see one person creating a game like this, and it makes me feel like we developers should all be playing more with VR and try to come up with more exciting things.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of opportunities in VR, and most stuff hasn't been made yet. But I also realized that it's difficult to sustain yourself in VR. So you have to go in it thinking, okay, it may not sell.
But
there is also less competition, so it's also a good thing.
Yeah, of course you can.
Because if you want your indie game to be discovered on Steam now, you have to be really creative. In VR, it's less an issue.
Yeah, you can play around.
There is less. So there is also good sides.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Tommy. This was really interesting.
Thank you for inviting me. It was really cool.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Kodsnack. Since we recorded, there's been some fun news. We talked toward the end about how Oculus wasn't letting Deisim be in the Oculus store because it's not a finished game and various other reasons. But since we recorded, Oculus has also released something called App Lab, which is another way to distribute Oculus Quest apps without needing to be directly in the regular app store of the Quest and without needing store approval or sideloading. So that means that right now you can buy and play Deisim right in your Oculus Quest without even needing SideQuest and without needing to do any sideloading or without purchasing through a different system for that matter, which is really great. I'm still a big fan of Deisim and what Tommy has done. I'm really looking forward to see how things move forward. And if you want to know anything else, find more links, find more episodes, our website is at kodsnack.se, which is surprisingly unwieldy in English. And while you're there, you can find links and show notes, and you can also, if you want to support us, buy us a coffee on coffee.org, or you can buy a shirt or some other accessories and fun stuff through our Spreadshirt store. The link to that is also on the website. Again, thanks for listening, and speak to you again soon.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.